If you are open and receptive to an energy activation, then say yes. You can be anywhere and do anything. Tia is going to school today. She is especially excited because they have a visitor. This visitor is their facilitator of the class today, and this facilitator is Zet, who is from the Andromeda Galaxy. Schooling looks very different than it was before. All the tribe's children gather in a circular courtyard. Roots of a new species of fungal tree expand in a geometrical pattern from the center. 2-meter-tall crystal pillars for conduction grid the surrounding area. The beautiful fungal tree towers over from the outside of the circle, creating a canopy over the courtyard, shading it as well as emitting atmospheric conditions to keep the area cool/warm and even clean. The children sit within the circle courtyard in a gridded and spaced out pattern. The facilitator typically stands in the middle and walks through the children occasionally to move the energy congruently, as the energy of imagination, inspiration, creativity, and curiosity is ripe within these young beings. The children are the ones who drive the class. A wise facilitator feels the energy and sees the best direction for the class, and can direct the educational experience via prompts, encouragement, and answering questions, guiding the momentum of the class to the highest and most enlightening experience. Children have a pure connection to Source, and they are given the opportunity to channel, create, and explore, assisting in the collective knowledge. We all learn from children, as their freedom is respected and encouraged. The soul that incarnates into each one of us has a plan, and everything we need already resides within us. It is up to the ones that came before to assist in building children up for their optimum success and allowing them to get there through their own means. We show them what has come before, and they take that and expand upon it. The wisest teacher knows that they learn from the student just as much as the student learns from the teacher. This is why the parents attend to learn as well. They sit on the edge of the courtyard, framing the container, while observing and listening the same way you would attend a lecture. Today's visitor and facilitator is Zet, though born an extraterrestrial, is humanoid in form. With a slightly elongated cranium and pearlescent lavender skin, distinct magenta stripes and markings from her face and head travel down the contour of her body. These stripes are like tattoos given to her through a rite of passage by coming into adulthood as part of her culture's traditions. She is one of many types of Andromedan star beings, as the Andromeda Galaxy is home to at least a dozen of known star races. She wears a long silk-like dress with ornate patterns and designs that seem to shift, move, and glow differently to each observer that views it. Zet is currently adapted to our homeworld of Mother Gaia. Before arrival to a world, through meditation, she connects with the being that is the planet, communing with them while adjusting her frequency to match that of the world and the beings she intends to visit and interact with. While doing this, she shifts her physical body, adjusting to the planet's density/frequency, atmosphere, gravity, temperature, microbiome, etc. Typically, an extraterrestrial, when arriving to a world, will need to adjust their frequency to that of the beings they wish to visit/observe. As on most worlds, different beings exist at different frequencies. An example, we now exist at the 5th density, so Zet needed to adjust her frequency to that of 5D. It's like tuning a radio dial to a specific station. As she does this, even her organs such as lungs are intentionally adjusted so she may enjoy the fresh oxygen and light-rich atmosphere we have. No need for spacesuits like sci-fi the old, and disease no longer exists in this world, so no need to quarantine either. Zet has overseen children from all over for millennia, and is very experienced with young minds. As a soulmate friend to the tribe, she is welcomed with open arms and hearts. Zet stands in the center of the courtyard amongst the children. She inhales, tapping into her guidance of what is best to come through today. Feeling the profoundness of the potential energy, she prompts a question to the children about conflict. One boy answers with a silly joke as he playfully shoves his friend Tia next to him as all the children laugh. Play is the most powerful learning experience, but in this moment, Zet has something else in mind. She begins to ask a series of questions related to the conundrum of conflict and anything about it. There are no right or wrong answers, but perspectives. Different children one by one express what they know/believe and understand. Conflict is a very foreign concept to these children, as they were born into a world of total abundance, prosperity, safety, love, and trust. There hasn't been any conflict for a while. Zed is impressed as one of the children mentions they realize the great contrast of the state of their reality to one where conflict was common. Zed asks the children if they would like to learn from and experience contrast. Eagerly and excited, they all joyfully shout, "Yes!" Tia is thrilled, as she was looking forward to this, for usually when Zed is here, it means field trips. Zed asks the children to enter a meditative state. Through a series of prompts and guided visualizations, the children are induced into a hypnotic state. Through the combination of Zed's prompts, accessing the Akasha, the children's memories from past lives, and utilizing epigenetics from their ancestors' experiences, each child is able to recreate a one-to-one holographic projection in their consciousness, fully immersing them in an imaginative live scenario from the past. This designated scenario is that of the year 1943, during a time of humanity where conflict was at its height. Each child has a different experience, each one tailored by their soul's higher self to gain the most information and growth. They each experience different roles. Some are soldiers on the front lines, some are medics all over, some are at home while their lover leaves to serve, and most are even gender and race swapped. All experiencing differently from one another, to opposing sides of the conflict and different angles of political, economic, and moral stances. This is to contrast and compare with each other afterwards. The children will experience this vividly, greater than any fully immersive video game of today. Weeks and even months may go by for them. All the while, the state they are in will only have lasted for an hour. The children are always safe, psychologically, emotionally, and physically. They will come back out of the journey with only the information acquired with great clarity. Learning through the lens of experience is priceless. For a moment, they experienced a world of separation, illusion, fear, anger, and atrocity, where the distorted masculine was at its height, suppressing the feminine within all. Mother Earth was ravaged by the mining of her precious oils and materials, such as brass, to be formed into bullets, then using great amounts of that oil to move armies of young souls around her to shoot those bullets into the bodies of our brothers and bleed her children dead. More tragic was after the discovery of nuclear atomic energy. One of the most powerful attained natural forces cultivated by even the most advanced star races was used to destroy each other. This act of using one of the most powerful forces in the universe to kill each other broke the hearts of many beings near and far, and was felt throughout the entire universe. Things had to change. Through a challenging and arduous process of awakening, in just under 100 years, humanity made the biggest and quickest shift of any species ever. They now exist as one of the most renowned species within a collective of star races, an example of triumph, and we now serve as wayshowers for the hard knocks. Continuing the experience of contrast, what is to be gained by overcoming conflict? As a unified whole of people, animal, plant, and planet, we are able to access higher frequencies, unlocking new technologies, greater gifts, and latent abilities. Zet then prompts the children to visualize the icy fields of Europa, one of Jupiter's moons. Seeing the thin atmosphere, with Father Sol, the sun, far off in the black space, with massive orange Jupiter filling up most of the sky above. They can see her fields of ice. They can see Jupiter in all his glorious presence hovering above. They see it so vividly and clearly. The same way Zet communed with Gaia, the children are doing the same with Europa. She now prompts them to feel her ice, her cold, the minimal heat from Father Sun. They can feel being on Europa far more than they can feel being on Gaia. As they do this, they start to shift themselves to Europa. Remote viewing is just one part of translocating. The ability of translocation is attainable by all. At first, it is challenging to master, but will become the main means of long-distance travel by all. This would be potentially a dangerous feat to have children this new to the practice attempt this without much experience until they are around 21. Though, Zet has been doing this with millions of children across the galaxies for over thousands of years. A few of the Soul Tribe members who are quite adept at astral traveling, realm exploring, remote viewing, and translocating piggyback on the traveling with the class, acting as shepherds, guides, and anchor points, chaperones to this field trip. The trick to inexperienced travelers is to have a tether home. Many inexperienced travelers could potentially get lost in a side spirit realm, or be unable to successfully shift themselves back home without an energetic tracer. You can think of remote viewing becoming translocating like a slinky. One end of the slinky is in one place, while most of it is coiled in another. 10% on one step, 90% on the other. This would be the remote viewing part, where a small percentage of our being is somewhere else, an example, our awareness and focus. A little more focus as you begin to fade or shift to the focused upon area. This experience has been seen from an outsider's perspective, on the end with the smaller percentage, as a ghost seeing someone who is not quite there and even see-through. Now take more and more of that slinky coiling over to the other step until that slinky is fully coiled onto the next step, successfully translocating your full being there. Aiding with sensations as feeling the desired location more real than your current location you are leaving helps manifest yourself anywhere. You're not so much traveling as manifesting the holographic projection of your surroundings to be different. Time and space are an illusion anyways. Time travel is a whole other story though. Also, knowledge of the desired location helps. An example, if you're traveling to a place without air you need to breathe, being adept enough to shift your body to match and adjust to the area so you can survive and be comfortable would be ideal. The children are guided through this process with Zet as they translocate from world to world, experiencing the freedom to be anywhere, witnessing a small sample of the near infinite awes and wonders that our beautiful universe has to express. Laughing, playing, and exploring forests from worlds in Orion, to swimming in oceans of the Pleiades. Finally, after many visits, seeing the peaceful and wonderful unification of our universe in a relatively brief example. Zet guides them back to the courtyard in their tribe neighborhood, meeting their parents in the same spot. Reflecting on the experiences today, there truly is no solid lesson plan or agenda to the subjects and experiences presented. Subjects are channeled and then expanded upon as each child takes their subjective experience, assisting their unique perspective in our world. As Zet says her departing intentions, "I will see you when I see you in another now." Tia runs up and gives her a gripping hug, burying her face in Zet's dress. Tia says nothing, but Zet can deeply feel the unconditional love and adoration from this child. As Tia looks up, Zet strokes her forehead before her parents summon her. Looking up, she makes eye contact with Tia's family, Zet's soul family as well. They smile as they turn with Tia, departing for the moment. Today's class is concluded as the courtyard empties from the tribe. Zet sits solely before entering meditation, contemplating the millions of children she has tended to over the course of her life, the countless souls, faces, and names. She can remember each one of them with absolute clarity. She never forgets a single soul or anything about them. Coming from her homeworld, a people who many eons ago transcended separation, they see everything as a whole and nothing as greater or lesser. Reflecting upon this as a teacher and guide such as herself would not be encouraged to have favorites, yet Tia is very much her favorite. How different beings developed galaxies apart over millions of years share a bond of love that transcends all illusion, duality, and form. Zet begins to imagine and feel her home right around her as she translocates. Zet opens her eyes as she sits on a structure back on her homeworld in the Andromeda Galaxy. With the power of the mind, she was able to traverse over 2 million light years in a single moment. Funny in contrast to the humans of old, who mined precious materials from their world, spent countless amounts of time, energy, money, resources, and manpower forcing artificial contraptions into orbit. An amazing feat, yet only if they knew and understood the power they all had latently. With being able to unlock one of, if not the most powerful forces in the universe, the power of thought and speech. With this power, anyone can manifest anything, and not just thought and speech, but imagination. Imagination is God's source, because with imagination, you can be anywhere and do anything. End of chapter. I am sealing this energy session in, disconnecting, pulling my energy back, giving thanks to all spirits, beings, tools, and technologies who had a part to play in this. So be it, so it is done. Thank you for watching and listening. MC Warrior of the Light, out.